I'm going to start at the very beginning again because a lot of you might not have seen this. So basically, all I'm cooking with is the contents of this box. I can't get it out at the moment because we've got all these things here. But it's basically, I got some jackfruit, the fabulous substitute for meat. Great if you've got vegans or vegetarians come in. You can do almost anything with it. My red beans, all my pulses. Mixed beans, chickpeas. They're great for bulking out soups and stews, but I can also knock up falafel or anything with them. Always got tinned tomatoes. Now, I've got two different types of tomatoes. Get the cheap and cheerful if you need to. Not saying these are cheap and cheerful, but buy the cheap ones if you're going to use them in soups or stews, because you're cooking for a length of time and that will enrich them. But if you're going to have something like just pasta on a cheese sauce, get the best tomatoes you can, because you really do notice the flavour. I use apricots and prunes a lot because I use them in tagines and stuff like that if I just want to buck something up a bit, especially if I haven't got meat in it. There's my chickpeas, which I'll be needing later. Lentils, seeds and grains, always great for bulking stuff off, and I use these as minced beef substitute. Always got a tin of corned beef in my cupboard because that really comes in handy, as does a tin of non-existent tuna and lime juice. I love that at the end of a curry or something, just to buck it up. You'll see what I'm doing as I go along. Tomato puree, that's really good as well. Right, I've managed to condense my herbs and spices down to 5 basic ones. And don't forget, we're getting these from the Purple Polish shop. They're 39p a packet there. And all I've done is got all my herbs and spices in here now, just to make it easier for me. So you'll see me scurrying around. We want the smoked paprika, the cumin seeds, 5 spice, any herbs and spices, any mix, and that's for Chinese and stuff like that. Right, I know some of you got lettuce today, and you might be thinking, it's really cold, I really don't want to be messing about with lettuce. I'm going to put some squidge, margarine, butter, whatever you want to use, in the pan. Now, I didn't get any onions, but I had a spring onion. If you keep these ends of the spring onions and just put them in a little dish of water, the spring onion will actually regrow. So all I'm doing is just pretending these spring onions are my onions. Use whatever you've got, onions, leeks, and I'm going to get them in the butter. Right, I'm just going to get that bubbling away. And I've got a bit of leek here. Same thing with the ends of the leeks. If you've got any celery, put that in water, and that will regrow. Carrot tops, and I use carrot tops a lot in my cooking because I love carrot top salsa. And I love getting this extra mile out of my fruit and veg. So I'm just jamming them in. So what I'm actually doing is braising the lettuce. Right, these are looking pretty ropey, and you might think this one's actually got frozen. You might think I'll bin that. Well, I'm just going to pull them away. So cut that end off there. I'm cutting this one into 3 because it's quite a big one. I haven't got any chicken stock cubes. This is great on the barbecue if you've still got that, doing the frozen one. No difference whatsoever. And again with the ends, that's in water, that will regrow. So now what I want to do is I want to wake this veg up because it's pretty boring. So it's going to go in my squidge. I think he's put me on the wok ring, which is the fiercest one. And we don't mind if it scorches because that means a bit of flavour comes out. Like I said, I love this on the barbecue. So we can put a bit of garlic in there. The garlic. I'm using powder because I can't find my real garlic. Bit of herbage. And I'm going to put just a touch of water. I'm just going to turn this over. What I'm going to do now is turn this into soup. So there we have a side vegetable, which we actually will be having at the community lunch tomorrow. If you're going to put a stock cube in it, you don't need to use salt. But I haven't got a stock cube, so I'm using my salt. And as always, my favourite salt. I really don't like, as a lot of you know, that chemical salt. One of the reasons I cook from scratch is because I want to know what's in my food. We got potatoes this week. Now, can you remember the trick? These are all boiled potatoes. These will last for 3 or 4 days, just in the bowl, covered with a tea towel. Don't put them in the fridge because of fruit flies. This one's damaged, so I'll use this one first because this one will go off first. Now, these make great roast potatoes, chips. If the kids want a potato sandwich, I love potato and raw onion sandwich. Chips, all you have to do is cut them up into chips or wedges and then cook in your air fryer or cook as you normally do. I'm going to use this cabbage. So once again, I want onions, except I haven't got an onion. So once again, I'm using a spring onion. So there's my onions. There are no garlic, so I'm going to stick to using the powdered garlic. I have got mushrooms though. That's it. So I've got my onions, my mushrooms, should have garlic, but I left that at home. If you want to make these into mash, just peel them like I'm doing, and that's running a knife up them. And then just grate them. And you've got the most fluffiest mash. Grate it straight onto your shepherd's pie. Works a treat. So I'm going to do a mini version because it's just for 2 people, this one. So all I'm doing is I got the potatoes and I'm cubing them up. So I'm going to need some tomatoes, salt and some curry paste. I make my own curry pastes, or I get them from the Asian shop in St. John Street. If a group of you get together, you can go to that little Indian shop and get yourself quite a good selection. I'm just chopping the coriander up for the end. Right, I've only got 1 saucepan, so guess what? The lettuce, I hope, is cooked. Yes. So we get the lettuce into the jar. Onions go in, and we didn't have onions, so I used spring onion. I'm going to slake that down with a little bit of water, just because it's on this wok and it's a fierce heat. So that's my onions gone in. Garlic, and like I said, left my garlic at home. Or it'll be in one of the bags that we haven't unpacked. Curry spice. Get the potatoes in. Now get the potatoes in first so we can get a little bit of crisp on them. So they were in the bag as well this week. And that cabbage. That's it. Cabbage, you got this in your box today. I think it's a little sweetheart or something like that it's called. Can't really remember. give it a bit of stir round. And I haven't got a spoon, but I have got a wooden knife. Right, I'm going to use a little bit of tomatoes in that. So I haven't done a full size one because I don't want to waste it. So from a bit of cabbage, we have got a lovely potato and cabbage curry. Let me just taste that before I say it's lovely. It is. So this is great. We can stuff it in. Remember last year we used flatbreads for pasties and stuff, so we can stuff it in there. Stuff it in pasties, eat it as is. So that's another meal. This will keep in the fridge. Let it go nice and cold before you shove it in the fridge. It's nice in jacket potatoes, lovely with rice. Next time, I promise I will remember spoons and stuff. Okay, so that's that one. Next, I'm doing the curry, and I was given chicken breast. I'm cutting on the plates because I've only got one board. So normally I would kind of like get quite a few meals out of one chicken breast, but this is a curry for 4 people. So all I'm doing is chopping the breast up nice and thin because then it doesn't take long to cook. And we're going to be doing a kind of tagine with this, so I'll add the apricots and put some water in my pan. So I'm using the leeks. Again, it's what I've got. So I think that'll be enough. Right, I want a bit of cumin seed. Cumin's one of my favourites. So there we go. So we're just going to get this chicken sealed. That's going to take the most part in this recipe. So don't forget, I showed you this one at the beginning, except I didn't use curry powder in the one I made. I used a tagine mix that I make up myself, but it really doesn't matter. And I didn't use meat. So this one's the meat version. So prunes just make it a little bit more, I don't know, celebratory. I want a bit of herbage in there. A bit of smoked paprika. Now I prefer smoked paprika to paprika. So a little bit of curry powder. But don't forget this one's got the smoked paprika in it. And then in go the tinned tomatoes. And this is the same can. Stirring with my very expensive stirring stick. I'm going to chop. I've got a tomato here, so I can chop that up. I take this out because if you get that, it's just not nice. Now, if I was going to put this in the slow cooker or one of my non-electric slow cookers, I have it in a smaller saucepan, get the lid on, then I'd put it in the slow cooker. And I'm putting coriander in this one now because I want it to be completely different. I boiled up the sweet potatoes whole. I didn't even bother skinning them because I thought there might be something I can do with them. And what I'm going to do is peel this one. And all we're doing is putting a little bit more texture. And it's just another way to use your sweet potato up. Anything that's left, you could like drain the juices off and kind of make it into like a burger shape, like a pate. So there we go. That's another meal cooked. So next, I want the same pan. Let's get this soup juiced up. Right, the next thing I'm going to get doing is some broccoli in here. So quite a lot of us would have had these today, and they're cut up. But can you see you got some brown bits? Don't be frightened of them. Just see if they'll cut off. And yes, they do. So I'm going to get that in. I'm just going to make a mini version. Let's get some leeks in there. I'm making this leek go a long way. And there's a bit of tomato that was left over. I mean, it doesn't take tons, and we don't need lots of herbs and spices. We don't need to be frightened about herbs and spices. So we get them in. So I've got onions. I'd like to get a little bit of garlic in there, but I haven't got any. But any kitchen should always have a little bit of dried garlic. So get some of that in there. And some water. I haven't got a lid for this, but that will work. Right, so we just want to cook that down a little bit. Into that, I'm going to add tomatoes. Did I use all the? Yeah, I used all them. Right, so a lot of people got these. They've been getting them for a couple of weeks, and it's kind of like they're all radished out. Well, this is just another way to use them. So I have got spring onions. So all I'm doing is waiting for those broccoli to heat up. So this is going to be for the next thing we cook. So I'm going to just swap the broccoli over. Half the problem with cooking is kind of confidence. Don't let anything that happens kind of like throw you. Let's face it, if it fails and it's savoury, cover it with gravy. And if it's sweet, cover it with custard. There is no such thing as a failure. Right, so in my still dirty pan, I'm putting my squidge, vegan spread, butter, whatever, in. So all we're doing, we're cooking the broccoli until it's a little bit tender. Get those onions in there. These are fabulous on the barbecue. Get the radish in there. That gives me time to clean off my food. Just like I did with the lettuce, I want to get a little bit of colour on my radish. I love these radishes pickled. I don't know if any of you do your own pickles, but if you slice these really thinly and pickle them just in time for Christmas, the same as if you've got any of these grapes, I hot smoke them at home. It's easy for me because I love experimenting. I use cooking to relax, chill out, get back at life, you name it, I use cooking. And I'm not scared because if it fails, you can just zhuzh it up and make soup, or like I said, cover it with gravy or something. There's no such thing as failure, though. If you put too much salt in, just add extra veg. Right, there we go. So we're getting a little bit of colour on that. So now I can start getting a little bit of flavour in there. Using my state-of-the-art woodring stirring stick. Get a little bit of garlic in there. and some herbage. A little bit of tomato. This was a pot that come in the box. So I'm going to use a little bit in there. With a little bit of water. Right, so I just want that water to cook out a little bit. And because Lewis is going to be having this with the potato and cabbage curry and the chicken tagine thing, I might put just a touch of curry spice in there. It's only a touch, see, just so it kind of vaguely resembles like a curry thing. Right, so taste again. A little bit of tomato. And there we go. So that will go with the meal, and it will even zhuzh up with the lettuce to go in the soup. So let's get back to this. So as you can see, the broccoli is now uncooked. Not too worried about it cooking all the way down because it's still got to go in the oven. So now I'm going to put the rest, because I don't want to waste these, I'm going to put the rest of them in. And this is my take on cauliflower cheese. So there we go in with the tomatoes into the bowl. I often don't use things like that tomato pot because I don't like the taste that instant food has. Right, I'm going to put some herbage in there. Quite a bit. So, I mean, that could be a stew or whatever. I'm going to put some sweet paprika. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in my dish. Right, we could make that into a pie. It was going to have cheese on the top and be baked, but I've just thought I've still got potatoes left. I'm not too fast about peeling them all the way. I actually like the potato skin. Look, there's some sweet potato left as well. Let's not waste that. So we're just making a rough pie. It's not pretty. Get the kids doing it. But what it is it's using up little bits of waste food and making another meal. And that was one packet of broccoli and cauliflower. It wasn't all the packet, to be honest. Half a tin of tomatoes. So there we go. That's the last meal I'm going to cook. I'm going to call it a day. So that could have pastry on it. It could have mash on it. I've just done this. Mozzarella cheese would be stunning. So there's that. That's the potato and cabbage curry. That's the chicken curry. Okay, so this leftovers can go into samosas, into a jacket potato. You could cut this up smaller, layer it up with rice, make it go further, add chickpeas. This is gorgeous, mashed up into samosas. These are self-explanatory, and we've got the soup and the braised lettuce.